I don't know if my microphone battery will survive this video, but here we are. It's the end of the day. I have made myself a pomegranate and elderflower cordial, but hot, because I don't think my body can deal with any more caffeine today. It's just squash for adults. I thought I'd throw it back, 2014 style. Let's do a Q&A. I don't think I've filmed one of these in a long while. I think the last one I did was answering uncomfortable questions, which was in my last flat, so at least 2 years ago. So I asked you on Instagram and on the YouTube community tab if there's anything you'd like to ask me, and so I'm going to kind of divide this video into two. The first half's just going to be questions about things about going on in my life or like me, and then the other half's going to be answering your advice questions, because I know you like a little mix of both. I say you, I like a little mix of both. I like little mix. I'm in such a weird mood, I'm sorry. There are a couple of things that are coming up time and time again. One of them is a big one about how do you get body positive? How do you get more confident in your body? How do you adjust to your body when you gain weight, etc.? I will address that later on in the video. The other one, which I got so much, is what would you be doing if you weren't doing YouTube? I must have been asked this like 20 times. What would I be doing if I wasn't on YouTube is a question I ask myself very regularly, because as you can imagine, this isn't the most stable of jobs. I am very happy doing this and it is financially supporting me right now, so I have no plan to dive off into something new. I also think I will always be making videos because I have done this for my whole like teenagedom and adult life. I can't see myself just stopping making like in a video and like visual context, because it just feels so natural to me to create and then share it on social media. However, I am well aware that there are limitations to this job, and being a YouTuber as a like career doesn't necessarily fully fulfill me for many reasons. The obvious ones being like, what's its purpose other than to entertain, which is fine, but I would like to have a dynamic or an element in my work which gave more than just being nice and making nice things. And then also like, where is the career progression? You know, how am I developing and becoming better right now? I've been full-time for 4 years, and while I love it, these questions naturally crop up in my mind quite frequently. So if I wasn't in YouTube full-time, I would probably be in the music industry full-time working. I think that would be the industry I would have pursued, if not entertainment in general. That kind of feels like where my heart's at. In terms of other industries, I would maybe be in news or politics, because I was already working in that a bit. I was working for a non-profit which encouraged young people to vote before this was my full-time job, so I did that part-time at uni. The other option would be that I'd be in entertainment on a performance level in the same way that I am here, or like a presenting level. So maybe I lean more towards podcasts, towards radio, maybe even towards music if I ever decide to put any music out. I see myself more on the performance end, not performance, I don't know, but like the presenting end of entertainment and still being freelance, but like doing jobs the way I do now, or maybe writing, or like building this career into more into more projects, basically, project-based work. I see that as being potentially where this career goes, or politics. I don't know, that's kind of what I see my options as being right now. I have thought about this in great depth. Hello, come in.
Oh, sorry,
yes, I do. Hello.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, this is Connor.
Hi everyone, how's it going? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's alright, see you in a bit. That was Connor. Those are my two most asked questions. I'll address the second one later. But yeah, I thought I'd answer that because so many of you wonder, and I totally get it. Like, YouTube is a weird career and there are so many things you can do off the back of it, and you can just leave it. Like, you can just put a line, cross a line, draw a line, that's the word, and move forward. There's just many places you can take it, so I understand why you're curious. What have you been watching and listening to and consuming during isolation? Well, my friends, I have a series called Beloved, which you can click on and watch somewhere around here, and it's listing my monthly favourites basically and the things I've enjoyed. And I don't just talk about fashion and beauty and lifestyle, even though those are my passions. I also talk about what I've read. I've got Goodreads as well if you want to check that out, but I talk about what podcasts I've listened to, what articles I've read, and all that kind of good stuff. So I will tell you what I've been reading and consuming at the end of the month. But what I am doing that probably won't make it into Beloved is I have been watching Marvel. The house has set a challenge to rewatch, or for me, watch for the first time lots of Marvel. They want me to get educated in Marvel. They want Jules to get educated in Marvel. In the past week, I've watched 6 Marvel films. I am nearly sold. It's taken a while. I really didn't get it until we watched Iron Man 3 last night, and that kind of is starting to tip me in favour of the storytelling and the universe building and world building, but I still don't really get it. I don't really understand why I like Star Wars so much, and I don't like Marvel all that much. I find the lack of female characters and representation just quite irritating, but I do understand that it's based on comics that were written quite a while ago. I'll hold the rest of my thoughts because I could be wrong until I've watched all of them. How are you taking care of your mental health during quarantine? Well, it's hard for everyone. It's hard for me as well. So if you're struggling, I'm really sorry. It will get easier. We are not in this forever. While life will have changed, your life isn't irrevocably changing. Like, things are okay. But I find that having routine is really helping. I found that exercising like at least a couple of times a week, for me that's like 3 or 4 times a week, is really helping. Whether that was, I tried going on a run, I currently am mainly cycling. We've got a spin bike downstairs that Josh saw from work, so I'm using that nearly, not every morning, but like 3 mornings a week. So yeah, 2 things just happened. One of them was I ran out of space, so I just transferred some footage over to my laptop, and the other is something very exciting arrived. I have a new vlogging camera and photos for gram camera. This is the Canon M50, I believe. EOS M50. In a cute white to go with my aesthetic. I'm a basic hoe. Right, okay. I think we're talking about what I'm doing to stay sane working from home. Big thing is moving my body, because I've really noticed it affects my sleep loads. Someone else asked a follow-up question, which is, how are you dealing with the nightmares or like the weird dreams? Because a lot of people are having really weird dreams right now. You have come to the right lady. I have had crazy dreams for long periods on and off in my life. I am very, very used to having to deal with really unpleasant nightmares often. I tend to get them in runs, so I'll have nightmares or like really vivid, unpleasant dreams every night for like 2-3 months, and then I'll have an off period where I won't have them. So important things for me that like help get rid of those is, 1, not sleeping in the mornings. If you find yourself waking up naturally in the morning and then going back to sleep, wake up, like get up. I know it's easier said than done, but when you go back to sleep and have that light sleep, that's when you'll have those really creepy weird dreams. The second thing I do is just have like mini routines before bed. I don't mean like constantly like go to bed at the same time, do all this stuff. I just mean stuff like spray a nice scented pillow spray on your pillow before you go to sleep, and then the smell will calm you down and relax you into your sleep and be like familiar and nice, and you'll associate it with nice memories. But also that creates some level of structure in your evenings, and that really helps me. I say the third thing is just don't take it personally. So I often have dreams, or I used to have dreams and take them quite literally. I think it's important that you bear in mind your body is processing something probably. That seems to be why I have dreams. I'm processing what's happened in my life. That could be a while ago, that could be now, just the brain doing its job. So I think of it as like flushing and clearing out and processing and not compartmentalizing in a bad way, but just like organizing and sorting. It's your brain's way of doing all of that. So I try and see it as, well, I'm going through the motions to make me feel better in the future. And when I see it like that, I feel a bit less weird about it, and I'm able to sleep again and not freak out too much about like, oh my god, what's coming next kind of thing. It's your brain's way of healing, basically. How are you dealing with thoughts of weight gain and loss during isolation? And how do you deal with your body changing over time? A great and very difficult question to answer. I find it very hard. I feel like I'm constantly on an uphill walk, like a hike of body acceptance. But I would say that for me, what has helped is thinking about people I love in my family and what traits I have of theirs. So I always think back to my grandma and how I have her figure and how cool that is, or like I have my dad's like thick dark hair and stuff like that. Makes me feel way warmer towards like aspects of my body or my physicality that I might feel uncomfortable with or feel doesn't fit the norm. I do think that what you see on the regular is what becomes your norm. If you're following loads of like Victoria's Secret models or something on Instagram, just unfollow them. Mute anyone that makes you feel bad on the gram. That's just the best thing you can do for yourself. What is happening with nothing to wear? How are you dealing with not being able to film at the moment? Why did I start a project the month that it's all going wrong? I'm sad about nothing to wear not being able to happen right now, but I am just gonna wait until we can all see each other again, because I do feel like being in the space of the wardrobe of the person who I'm talking to is really important. Like, I don't think it would work as well digitally. So I don't mean digitally, I mean like over the phone. So I am just gonna wait and just leave it, which is sad, but hopefully there'll be more episodes soon. Do you ever sit on the floor in jeans and you're just like, I am constricted, when you're standing up you're just totally fine? What is your favourite tea? The cold hard kind. No, I'm joking. I think my favourite flavour tea is Earl Grey. I get the Darjeeling Earl Grey from Tea Pigs sometimes. I just bought some new actually. Oh, it's so good. What impact do you think COVID-19 will have on influencers? Will it change the industry? I don't know actually. I think it's only going to strengthen podcasting, influencing, any content creation platforms online. I think it's just going to make them better. But I would say that advertising is not a good industry to be in right now, so thus it'll have a knock-on effect on influencers, and I don't really know what that will be. I am conscious that we're about to go into a recession as well, and I don't know how that will impact influencing, because while we are going to go into a really deep recession, I don't know if that's the correct terminology, but recession will happen, but also from what I've heard we're going to bounce back pretty fast as well, like at least a lot faster than we did from 2008, because of the nature of what triggered the recession. It's not like we have to rebuild an industry from scratch like we did with housing, so hopefully things will be okay. My livelihood is being damaged by corona, but so are everyone I'm friends with. Like, so many of my friends have been furloughed, so many of my friends have lost their jobs entirely just because of this damn epidemic. I don't really feel like I can complain, because while I've got no security blanket, I also do make my own work, and I'm in quite a stable position relative to a lot of other people because I have savings, which is something not many people have. So I am incredibly grateful to be an influencer at this time, because also I can still work, which is amazing. As someone who usually works alone, are you enjoying having an office environment during lockdown? Oh my god, yeah, it's actually been really nice. It's weird not having privacy necessarily, or nearly as much time alone, but the house is quite soundproof, so when I film people aren't listening in, I don't think, and like everyone's kind of to themselves. There's always like a nice amount of like noise, but not too much noise. People are really respectful and good, and also like on the afternoons when we need like some pepping up, we like play throwback songs, and it's just really nice environment. It's actually been alright. It's been okay. How long have you and Jack been together? We've been together for 2 years and 8 months. Now we move on to advice. Okay, someone asks, is it worth risking a friendship for a relationship? And they clarified that they meant, is it worth like going for the friend that you are in love with, kind of thing. And I would say yes, I think it is worth it, because if you don't express your true feelings, they're probably not going to go away, and ultimately you probably need some distance from that person if they do not return how you feel. You kind of need to get over them to then rebuild the friendship. So I do think it's important to always risk it, because you never know, things might be good. And also in terms of risking a friendship for a relationship, if it's a friend you might upset by pursuing the relationship, I think that's important as well. So long as you talk to them and you're transparent about it. I don't think it's always bros before hoes. I think it's important to be as... I don't know. It's important to chase your own happiness, and if you really see a future with someone, then I think it's worth treading on a few toes, or discussing with the people whose toes might be trodden on about your intentions and why you want to pursue them, and because ultimately everyone I know who's had an issue with a friend or family member being upset about their choice of potential partner is actually still with that partner, like every single one. So I think it's really worth it. Do you have any tips for isolating with your parents? I do not envy you there. I love my family dearly, but we call more than we see each other in person, and I think we all acknowledge we could all not live together again. So if you're isolating with your parents, I'm sorry. It's really hard as well because a lot of family homes do not have any kind of like sound or like noise insulation, and it is just a lot. I think the best thing you can do is carve out time for yourself, even though you've obviously got time to yourself. I mean time like actively away, like go on a walk, go on a run every day, do things that are for you. Oh my god, the fucking best thing of my life right now is noise cancelling headphones. They are so good. Carve out that time for yourself, like where the house is quiet or where you're outdoors, obviously sensibly, and good luck, because it can be very challenging to live with people. So I'm sorry you're dealing with that. How do you not let intense emotions overwhelm and take control of you? Interesting, my Scorpio moon is hearing you on that. I think the best thing you can do is be as self-aware as you can be about when you're acting normally and when you're maybe pushing the boundaries of your normal, like where you fall between. Like I notice when I'm particularly angry, I'm like, oh, maybe it's PMSy. Like, what is this? I look at it carefully, I take it out of where it's sitting and I examine it, and I'm like, what feeling are you? Where have you originated from? And then I tend to journal, and I tend to remove myself if it's a really negative emotion. I'll try and like, you know, step back from it a bit and be like, okay, people, I don't want to take it out on you, so I'll be over here. And that kind of ends up dealing with those extreme emotions that happen like kind of over the course of a day or something. How to end friendships / manage friendship breakups. It's hard, but I really do think the best thing you can possibly do is slowly distance yourself from them. I think that's the best way of not having crazy amounts of fallout, because while you might want to write them that letter and tell them everything awful that they did, sometimes that can have more knock-on impacts towards other people in your life that can actually do more harm than good ultimately, and can leave things on super bad terms, which is really hard to deal with in the long term. Maybe just slow distancing is the best way of doing it. And then ultimately it gives you time to process without anything getting traumatic and weird. That's the tea on that. Okay, someone asked, how do I start shooting film? Where do I begin? I love shooting film. Best thing you can do is buy a camera on Depop. I would use Retro Camera Shop is normally the one I go for, I think. I'll link them below. I get like a £30, £40 camera. That's what I do. You can buy a £10 camera from like a market, but I would get one from a reseller who has checked it through, make sure it works. So I buy that, buy yourself some film. I generally go to Amazon for film, although I know you can get it on eBay if you don't want to use Amazon. You can get it from loads of places actually. Google how to load film, it's very easy. Just follow a tutorial and then get shooting, shoot your little roll, like take it out places. Don't get an expensive camera as your first camera, because you want to practice like what you want to shoot and how and stuff. I don't know. Also go for cheap rolls of film at first, because so many photos will not come out, so you don't want to go spending like on Portra 400 when that just ain't gonna happen. And then once you've done your roll of film, you wait for your camera to rewind, or you press the little button on it that makes it rewind the film. Make sure you rewind the film before you take it in anywhere or open the back. And then you can pop open the back, put it in its little film canister and take it down to wherever you get your film developed. I know you can get it developed online as well. I just get a WeTransfer, I don't get physical files. So I get them emailed to me. And do some Googling to find the cheapest place to develop your film, because not all places are equal. And finally, I think this might be the final one, advice for getting ghosted out of the blue. That sucks. I'm sorry that happened. Oh, I would try and reframe the ghosting as a blessing, because it's very good that that person's no longer in your life, or like no longer gonna chat to you anymore, because they weren't someone you'd have wanted to date if they were gonna sit there and ghost you. If they didn't have the decency to tell you that they didn't want to see you anymore, then it is a very good thing that they are no longer someone you can be romantically with. Also, everyone, please read What a Time to Be Alone by Chidera, because it is so good. Like it is, I think I've bought that book for the most people. It is so helpful in showing people their worth, and women why they should not put their value in having a romantic relationship. It has helped so many people, and like even when I read it, I was like, it's reframed the way I think about romantic relationships. So if you are feeling like heartbroken, or like you want to get over someone or anything like that, honestly, What Time to Be Alone is the book. Okay, I think we are done here. Thank you so much for joining me on this Q&A journey. If you have any further questions on what we have already discussed, let me know in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on the things. I am now gonna go and transfer some footage and play with my new camera. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. I will see you in my next video.